Yo guys, what's up? Shadow here, and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. So, today, hopefully, we should be able to finish off this, the battery room. That is the big goal of today. Let's see, everything is empty. Yes, it is. Excellent. Yeah, that's the big goal of today. Finishing off the battery room. Hopefully, it shall be successful. I might actually slap some more containers on this transport ship, just for now, actually, just so we have, you know, a bit more inventory to work with. I just want to see what's the easiest way to do this, without making it too complicated. Let's see, go to cargo containers. Let's just make a medium one. So we need interior plates, construction, motors, display, computers. Interior, construction, this, motors, displays. Yeah, okay, not that much. There we go. That should be good. That should be good enough. And yeah, this is going to be a temporary modification, so we'll get that off right afterwards anyway. So actually we might just put on 2 if we can. Yeah, there we go. That's gonna speed this whole process up. Is it we have enough for 3 even? Can we go for 4? No, we only had 100 interior plates on us. Yeah, that should be enough anyways. Okay, let's start loading. This should go a bunch faster now, technically speaking. So let's start putting all of this in. There we go. Whoops. There we go. Also, today was kind of funny. I'm actually right now technically on holiday, but we're not really going anywhere special. At least not today or tomorrow. We're gonna go like somewhere in Switzerland, so not far away. So that's why I'm still at home recording right now, because you know we're just having a few chill days without too many obligations and such. But I went to shopping today real quick for like a few necessary things, and I decided to drop by the hobby store because, you know, I used to collect and play Warhammer Fantasy. Now that was maybe 10, 50, no, not 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago was where I actively played. Around 8th edition, I think that was, 7th, 8th edition. And, you know, I then stopped that because basically lots of friends didn't have time anymore for it. And I'm a bit weird when it comes to playing these games. I do not like to play with strangers because I know with you know, friends and all, we do know that we're playing friendly games. You know, we're not overly competitive. We are, you know, every once in a while we'll do some like house rule stuff. And the thing is, with random people, that's always a bit of an icky thing. So that's why I stopped playing then. I still had a few, bought a few models here and there, you know, painted a little bit, but I kind of stopped completely. And, you know, it's still all in my house, or in my flat, our flat. And the problem, it's kind of a weird problem. Basically, it was in a different room than my office, and it's kind of like a, you know, kind of like an out of sight, out of mind kind of thing, where since I didn't have it next to me all day, every day, I kind of forgot about it completely, so I didn't even paint anymore, I didn't put stuff together again, and now I moved my office, and basically because I don't play VR anymore, so it feels kind of stupid to occupy a huge, basically one of the biggest rooms in our flat for something, a hobby that I do not use anymore. Seriously, I mean, it's kind of stupid, right? So I moved my office to a smaller room, and basically I moved it into the room where the Warhammer stuff already was. So I didn't have to move that whole stuff into another room. That was one of the other motivations. But anyway, so I moved in there. And now, since I have that all right next to me, I thought, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna start actually at least putting together and painting again. I'm not quite sure about playing, but at least putting stuff together again. So today I went to the hobby store and bought myself some glue. Some modeling glue and stuff. Because everything else I still have. I have like little files, you know, to cut off excess or to get rid of excess plastic on the models. I have the little clipper things to get them out of the molds and all that stuff. I still have that, but I had a little bottle of glue still somewhere in my boxes, and I took it out and I screwed the cap off, and it was like a solid block of glue in there. Completely solidified. It was kind of funny. But yeah, so I'm potentially gonna do some more Warhammer stuff. I didn't buy any paint so far because I know when I was still actively collecting, I used to buy like all the paint, even the one that I didn't use, and then that basically went bad. Maybe I used it once and then it went bad, so now I'm gonna do this a bit more cleverly, you know. I'm gonna first put a lot of things together, then I'm gonna write down what kind of paints do I need, buy only these, and then just gonna go paint. And I'm trying just to be a bit more clever about it this time, so yeah, that's kind of exciting. I'm kind of looking forward to that, you know. It's a bit of a bummer, of course, because if you know the Warhammer Fantasy thing, what happened there is Games Workshop basically decided that Warhammer Fantasy wasn't, I guess, profitable enough. So they basically rebooted the universe into what they call now Age of Sigmar. It's a lot different. It's more like 40k if I had to compare it to anything. Basically, the big difference between 40k and fantasy was not only that it obviously was set in a different time scale, so to speak, like fantasy, obviously kind of like Middle Ages, Renaissance age with gunpowder and magic, and 40k obviously far grimdark future. Now, the other difference was that 40k was kinda like a squad-based thing, that you had at best like squads of maybe like 5, 6, 7 dudes. I mean, if you play the Horde factions, you might have some more, but generally it's about small squads of infantry and then big ass, big freaking vehicles and tanks and artillery pieces and robots and whatnot. And fantasy was more about like the rank and file kind of warfare, where we had like huge amount of troops all in a line ready to fight, you know, like gun lines and stuff like that. I remember I played well, I still, if I will play again, I have a Chaos army, Chaos Warriors army, and a Wood Elf army, both of which are not the cheapest armies. AKA, if you are putting models on the table, you will mostly always have less models than your opponent. But even then, in Chaos, I used to play with like 40 to 60 barbarians in one unit, or marauders, I think they were called in English. But yeah, so it's a completely different style. And now with Age of Sigmar, they kind of, let's say they reined it in a lot, you know? They basically made it so that it's also more like a 40k game. I understood why they did this, kinda, because if you look at the rulebook of the 8th edition Warhammer, that thing is like a freaking novel. But it's kind of what I loved about the game, you know? Not necessarily that it was complicated. I wouldn't say it was really complicated. You just had a bunch of rules you had to know, and then everything else was kind of logical, at least for me. But it gave you a lot of options, a lot of tactically interesting options, you know? So if I'm gonna play some Warhammer in the future, it's still gonna be 8th edition. But of course the problem is now that they only sell Age of Sigmar stuff, pretty much. But I guess you can just buy Age of Sigmar stuff and kind of like slap them on the square basis and then just model it, do a bit of remodeling on these things, and then pretend or declare that, oh yeah, these are these kind of models. These represent the Josens of chaos and stuff like that, you know? I guess we'll have to do it this way because, you know, I'm pretty sure there's not that much of the original boxes flowing around anymore. I mean, if I had a 3D printer, maybe I could print my own things, but actually I'm not too knowledgeable about 3D printing anyway, so probably not the best way. But yeah, you know, I'm just right now I'm just gonna see what I have laying around here because it's a lot, and I'm just gonna put some things together, and it's gonna be hopefully fun. I think it's gonna be fun, but you know. Because I know in the last few years that I was playing / collecting, I collected a lot of models that weren't even from my army, just because I found the models interesting and I wanted to put them together and paint them. And like as an extra side bonus, if you get like models from other ranges, you do get, with every model you buy, you get like a bit of extra bits and bobs, you know, then you end up not using. And these often do make like great decorations for other models then. You know, let's say you buy like a Lizardman squad, and then you have like a few extra Lizardman heads. You can use these on then another model, you know, like get the Lizardman heads, put them on pikes, and then put them in as like decorations and things like that. Or cut or like file a piece of them off and then use them as like armor pieces. There's so much stuff you can do, and I really like that. So yeah, again, I'll have to check what I have right now because I lost the overview of what exactly I still have. But I think it's gonna be fun. I'll have to see when I will start. But I remember back in the day, it was really a fond hobby of mine, and it's actually fun story. It's actually how I met my now wife, basically. Well, not quite, but it was a connecting factor, a big connecting factor. So yeah, that was it was an important part in my life. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I used to. I think I started before or around 7th edition, and I think I even started not with Warhammer into this hobby of tabletop gaming. The first game that I played with friends was the Lord of the Rings tabletop. That was strange. That was really weird. Now that I remember it back, because it was also kind of more like 40k style, because in 40k you move pretty much every model on your own. Of course, like squads have to stay, I think, in a certain range of each other, but basically you can move models on their own, while in fantasy you move them as a whole unit. Basically, you put them most of the time. You put them on like big movement trays, and then you just shove those around. You know, so yeah. In the Lord of the Rings tabletop, it was a lot different. In there, you would move units as single units, and you could move them really all over the place. So you could just be like, okay, I have 2 horse archers here. One goes to the left and one goes to the right, and then these 2 horse archers, they just shoot like a singular unit. They ride around and shoot, kind of like singular skirmishers. You could do stuff like that. It was interesting, but it was a lot of like micromanaging, obviously. But I remember that. That is like some fond memories as well. And I used to collect the, what were they called? I think they were called the Easterlings and the Haradrim, I think they were called. Of course I played the evil factions. I somehow always, at least as a starting faction, I always choose the evil factions. The Warhammer first faction was the Chaos Warriors, obviously, because they're cool. And again, the Lord of the Rings tabletop, I just thought the Easterlings, they always looked really cool, also in the movies, you know. And the Haradrim, I really thought they were kind of interesting and mysterious, you know, like the Eastern kind of like skirmishers, assassins, and stuff like that. I really liked that vibe, so that's why I chose him. And because they could field a Mameluke on the tabletop. I think I saw a battle once with a Mameluke. I never had one my own, because when I started with the Lord of the Rings tabletop, I was still in school, which means I barely had any money for hobbies anyway, and then I choose one of the most expensive hobbies to boot, so well done me. But yeah. And if I would start 40k, I would probably also choose one of the more evil factions. Although, to be fair, you could argue that in 40k every faction is evil to a degree, even the humans. Or especially the humans. But I would probably, if I had to choose a faction, I would probably go with... Not with Chaos Space Marines. I find that the Chaos Space Marines I find a bit lazy. I don't know why. Because in fantasy, Chaos Warriors as a faction feels, to me at least, quite unique. They're not just like an asset flip from the humans, you know what I mean? And to me, maybe because I'm an amateur and I don't know much about the 40k tabletop, but to me, if I look at the models, to me it always feels like that the Chaos Space Marines are like an asset flip from the normal Space Marines. Of course, they have some special units like demon units and stuff like that, but still, to me it feels lazy and not very fun. So I guess if I would start with a 40k faction, I'd probably go with Necrons, because I do like the Egyptian skeletons from space vibe. I do really like that, so that would probably be one of the factions I'd play. And if I had to go for a more good faction, even though it's a lot of people will probably cringe, I'm probably would go for the Tau. I just do love giant space robots. I cannot help myself. But I know that Tau are among players. Tau are not very, let's say, beloved. Might be because of their playing style of just shooting everything to bits before you even have a chance to react. That is, I know that's not very fun. I play Wood Elves in Fantasy, or I played Wood Elves in Fantasy. I know how that feels. But to be fair, I also play Chaos Warriors, so I have the complete flip side of having almost no ranged options, so... Oh well, I don't want to ramble on that stuff too much. Let's try to focus back on the task at hand. Oh, I'm going wrong again. So we're finished with one side I've just seen. We're finished with that side, so now we're starting over here. Ready? So we're pretty much managed to get one row complete. So I think we will have to at least do 2 more journeys. But I think getting some extra storage space was a good idea. Oh, whoops. I did a bit... That was not the best navigation there from me. That is okay. We can fix it. We can fix it. Can we fix it? Yes, we can, says Bob the Spaceman Engineer Builder. Let's go down a bit. Down. Which is up. That's why it's confusing. There we go. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. God, I lost orientation so hard. There you go. Okay, I'm also kind of like running out of energy cells over here. Do I have more over here, perhaps? Yeah, not really. Make some power cells, please. I mean, my god, I should have made them before I started the whole freaking welding process, because then I would have now enough to put on the freaking spaceship. But hey, that was a bit of an oversight. Oh, good thing it produces that fast. That's fine. Right. But yeah, I really hope we can finish this today. That would be nice. That would be very nice indeed. Oh, the stupid flames. I'm always getting burned over there. You thought I wouldn't learn by now. Maybe I have to put a big sign there. Like a big red flashing arrow. Do not stick your face into the exhaust. You know, sometimes I see like warning labels on certain items, and I'm asking like, why the hell did you have to put that on there? Do you really need to tell people not to put like, you know, like your hamster into the microwave? Do you really have to put that on there? And the sad thing is that of course you have to put that on there because somebody must have tried it. That's always the thing. If you see like an obscure warning label, you just have to tell yourself that is there because most likely somebody did it. And that's a bit of a sad thing. There's always one idiot that does something so outrageous and heinous, and then weird warning labels have to be made. It's really funny sometimes, but you would imagine what a world would be like without warning labels. It would be part hilarious and part scary. Because I do not take myself out of this, you know, because, you know, of course with stuff that I'm knowledgeable, it feels obvious to me, you know, when it comes to like anything that has to do with computers and internet culture, you know, the fact that you just don't open mails that you emails that you don't know where they came from. If you see an email with an attachment, you do not expect it, do not open it. That is like a natural thing for me. But I know there must be people who fall for spam emails, because otherwise they'd stop doing those, right? So that's obvious for me. But then again, if I have to use medicine, and I rarely do, but sometimes I have to, you're damn sure that I will read that tiny little pamphlet that they put into the box for half an hour before I take like a headache medicine pill or something. Even though it's probably useless because I'm not familiar with it, I want to make sure that I don't end up as like one of the guys that put a warning label onto something because he did something stupid. But you know, it's just in a different sphere of knowledge, I would say. Because I know my wife, as she works in pharma industry, she never reads those things because she knows. She looks at the package, she knows, oh yeah, that has this and that in it. Obviously, you don't take it when you had alcohol, you don't take it this and that. She knows these things. I don't. That's why I have to read these stupid little pamphlets. But yeah, there you go. I guess that's why we have to put them on. I'm not an exception to that rule, I guess. But I don't think I've ever done something so outrageously stupid that I have to like be ashamed. At least I don't think. Never did something that is warning label worthy. Let's put it that way. Yeah, you know, like a Darwin Award kind of thing. My goodness, there's so many of these videos out there. Jesus Christ, the Darwin Award worthy things. Well. Alright, so we got another load of components. We filled these three, we filled these, we filled the connector, we filled the cockpit. We have everything, I believe. Off to the construction site. It's very noticeable that I use the cockpit, which recharges my energy, because now I'm actually starting to get low oxygen, because that's not refilled in here. Because normally the energy drains first, long before the oxygen goes down, but now the oxygen is starting to get low. Alright. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Good. Let's see how far we get. Boom! Already another one. I think we're gonna get to the row below before we're out of material completely. That would be nice. But now that I'm looking at the record time, we're already almost out of time again. Did I talk so much and work so little, or is it just that work intensive? Sometimes it's hard to tell. But maybe I'm just gonna extend this a little bit today. If I see that we're close to finishing, I might just extend it. You know, just in case. But we'll see. Alright, almost. But I think this extension here, that really helps out a lot. Because otherwise I would have made a lot more trips. Obviously I would also be finished a lot sooner with the welding, and the trips would start earlier, but I think in the end this is probably more efficient. Well, not probably, it should by a long shot be more efficient. And that small time amount that I used to create the ship or the extension, I think that's negligible, I would say. What is that ship that is coming closer? Yeah, that's one of these. One of the companies that I pissed off during my pirating days. Of course. It's a private sale. Yeah, that's... I think this one is used to be a private sale, I believe. So it's one of those coming closer. That shouldn't be dangerous. I think it had turrets on it, though, didn't it? Or maybe it didn't. It's possible that it didn't, or maybe just interior turrets. Perhaps. There we go. Oh god. I'm confused sometimes. Alright. That's almost done. 23. Let's get a few more. Alright. Okay, so this row almost finished. I think before we empty out this container completely, it will be finished. So I'd say we get at least 1 or 2 of the lower row as well. If we get 2, then maybe the next flight might be our last. Or maybe I will actually smack on another container just to make sure that we don't have to do an extra half-empty flight. Although, to be fair, if there's only like 1 battery left in the end, I'll just fly back and forth with the suit, honestly. Because then it's not really worth it anymore now, isn't it? That should complete this one. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Look at all these batteries. I think they should be charging, hopefully. Otherwise, this is... well, it's not very good now, isn't it, if these are not charging. Should be the goal. Okay, 45 out of 80. And since there's... oh, 41 in this one. Okay, and then we have 2 more containers left. Yeah, 2 to 3 we might be able to complete. That is nice. That is very nice indeed. Yeah, each medium cargo container basically ensures the construction of 1 battery. Because it's 84 in one of those. So I will have to be able to calculate it pretty closely in the end. Right. Oh, flames again. Flames again. Yeah, we should be able to make this one as well. So I have the feeling we're gonna finish this in the next trip. Which means I might extend this episode today a bit, just so we can finish it off completely. Which means that next episode we'll be able to focus on something else. We've been on this for a bunch of episodes now. Might be a good idea, right? Yeah. I'll do like a quick calculation then. To see if we... ow! Ow! You know what? I should put some marshmallows on my suit. Then at least every time I get close to this thing, I would accomplish something, you know what I mean? Too bad you probably wouldn't be able to smell the marshmallows in space. Actually, I don't know if that would work. Honestly. Okay, so we have... Yeah, we'll have to count this as a almost a non-constructed one, just for the sake of it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that still need to be constructed. So we have 6 containers on here. That's that leaves us with 3. Okay, yeah, you know what? This one and my own inventory, that will result in at least 1 as well. So if we slap at least 2 containers more onto this beast, I'm pretty sure we'll end up with more than enough room to construct everything, I think. So that's what we're gonna do. I don't want to do extra trips. If we have a bit too much in the end, so be it. That's not the end of the world. So we're just gonna grab everything that is needed here, minus a few of that. There we go. So we'll just slap 2 more on here, just for good measure, so we can make absolutely sure that we nail this. Booyah. There it is. The big transporter there. Okay. We have 400 still here. That should be... we might actually need to construct some more. We'll see. You know what? Is it still constructing? No, it's not. I'll toss no, not thousands. I'll toss like 200 more in there, just for good measure. And that goes in here. Then you go in here. Just filling everything up. Yes, there we go. But yes, this should be more than enough. And the next time we can start with finishing off the room, aka lights and control panel, plus probably one of these auto LCD things. I'm sure there's one for batteries as well. So that's gonna go in there, and then it's on to the engine room slash giant room filled with gyroscopes. And I probably have to put a lot in, because this ship is huge and it will need a bunch of gyroscopes to be able to turn even slightly. And the thing is, I don't want this thing to be able to turn on a dime. You know, that's not what it's about. But I want it to turn like semi-responsively. You know, it doesn't have to feel like a fighter jet, but I need to be able to feel movement. I don't want to have to, you know, roll my mouse 5 meters to the left if I want to turn 2 degrees to the left. You know what I mean? This kind of stuff. That would be silly. That's not what we're after. Also, we need to really quickly get some oxygen here. There we go. Refilled. Excellent. And that should almost be everything. Ah, my goodness, it's warm today. Obviously, it's getting to be summer again, which is nice, but you know, if I could, I would set like an upper limit to the amount of temperature, because you know, to a certain degree, it's nice and summery, and then up from a certain degree up, it's just annoying, you know. When you have to, when you get up from bed and you're like, oh damn, I'm already sweating. That's not good. That's not a good amount of temperature. Nothing against the summer, but I'm more of a winter person. Not necessarily a snow person, but just like a colder person. I probably should live like in, I don't know, Finland or something. Or the Arctic, probably. But yeah. What can you do, right? So, we have to fill these up, and then we're a go. But at least we know that construction is gonna be finished afterwards. And I can pat myself on the back and say, good job. At least for this partial project. But I think that's how you should go onto projects anyway, isn't it? Like, break your project down into tiny steps and then tackle these steps, and every time you complete a step, put a check mark on it and tell yourself, well done, you completed it. Because obviously, if you work on a big task for years and years and basically never get the I've done it moment, that's frustrating. So I think the way we're doing this with room by room, that's probably a clever idea. I mean, even just from a sequential kind of, from a, you know, like a process kind of point of view, anything else would make no sense, probably. I guess you could make the whole outer hull and then the whole interior, but I feel that would be a lot more annoying. But maybe that's just me. I mean, everybody has their own process on how to tackle things like that, but I think for me it would be a lot more annoying. It's something I can do in creative, potentially, because there creating the outer hull is the easiest part and it's the fastest part. But here, it's equally as annoying or as hard. Because you cannot just with one click create like 500 blocks in a line and say, yep, this is the floor. That's not how this goes. Right, so just a bunch more and we're done. But yeah, look, we're cutting it close with the power cells there. I might need to make some more again. And now just the rest into the inventory. Ka-ching. And then we'll make, let's say about 300 more. And off we go. The last ride of the power cells. Yep. There we go. We're off. We're off. Ooh, we're drifting a bit. We're drifting a bit. Tokyo Drift in space. That's gonna be like Fast and the Furious 37. Like Fast and the Furious in space. You watch. That's gonna be a thing one day. I was really like irritated one day when this is like an old man syndrome. I'm serious. This is really telling me I'm getting old. I was flicking through, like, I think, was it video? Yeah, well, I think it was like zapping through YouTube, if you can even call it that. And there was like an ad, and it was for Fast and the Furious. Was it 7 or 8? See, I cannot even remember now, but it was 7 or 8, and I'm like, I didn't even know they made more than 3. You know what I mean? This is like crazy. I don't know. They're gonna continue until they have had every car in that series, probably. You know, Fast and the Furious 39 is gonna be like with minis or something. Although, to be fair, there's already car movies with minis. What was it called? The Italian Job? To be fair, that's not a car-based movie per se, but still. I'm sure there's like some nerd somewhere that has a database with all kinds of vehicles that have been in movies. You know? I'm not trying to be mean, but because I do stuff like that as well in other capacities. But I guarantee you, there's somebody out there who's like, yes, the BMW 3.7 wasn't ever in a movie before. It is about time. Oh, man. But yeah, that's like an old man moment. Oh my god. They already made 7 Fast and the Furious. Back in my day, we only had 3 and we were happy with that. Oh, man. I am getting old. But we all are, aren't we? You just start to notice it a bit more. From a certain age onwards, I would say. But I guess it's how you deal with that that really defines if you're old or just aged. Or however you want to differentiate that. Because I have sometimes, you know, I joke about that I'm getting old and I have old man syndrome and all that stuff, but I don't think I'm terrible. I'm not going to scream at kids, get off my lawn and stuff like that. I'm not. Of course, I'm like, sometimes when my wife is, when she's on like TikTok and watching videos, sometimes I feel my eyes starting to roll and I don't like it. Because I know I go to YouTube all the same as she goes to TikTok to watch stuff. But the TikTok thing completely went by me. I just don't use it. I don't... It's not a format that suits me. But, you know, I still think I'm not that bad. But I know there's people around my age that already have that kind of vibe of like old people. You know what I mean? Where you can feel that when they see young people, they're already... They're pissed. All these young people with their hair and their clothes. Sometimes it's funny, but my god. I mean, I like to joke about that stuff, but I dread the day when I start talking like that for real. And I mean it, you know. Did I just move that internally, or did I... Oh, I might have actually... Oh yeah, now it's only upstairs. We only have these left. Yeah, right. Right. Focusing on the task at hand, please. We have batteries to build. And ships to weld. Stars to explore. Galaxies to be and not to be, or something. I kind of tried to remember what the Star Trek intro was, and I completely forgot. To galaxy where no man was before? Jesus Christ. I never really watched Star Trek, to be honest. There's a lot of these things from my time where I know there's a lot of people who watched or played things that I never touched. That some people would probably say that's a sin. That you should have watched / played that. Star Trek is probably one of them. I watched the first 1 or 2 Star Wars, and all the others didn't interest me. I never really played Zelda. I think that's probably the biggest quote-unquote sin. You know what I mean? When it comes to gaming. Or at least other people would say. I don't see it that much as a problem, because I never really had... I had a Game Boy, but other Nintendo consoles I never had, so that kind of passed by me. And when I went to a friend to play Nintendo, we didn't play single-player games. We played GoldenEye, because that's what you do, right? 4 people, and then you just go to town on each other. And you scream at each other because you're saying, "Oh, you just killed me because you looked at my screen. Don't look at my screen." And stuff like that. That's how you do, right? I don't know what... Today is somehow the nostalgia episode. I don't know why. I guess I just have to kind of get this over with here before I go insane and I just start seeing batteries everywhere. Right, but we're almost done. We almost have it completed. Another one down. And I think we calculated this quite nicely. We're probably gonna have like a half an inventory left over, or maybe a third of an inventory left over, like 25 or so left over. We'll see. But I think we calculated this quite nicely. To the point, you know? But then afterwards I need to have a break. Jesus Christ. You know, there's certain games I can play for hours without ever having a pause, and then there's games like this one, especially if I play survival. Not so much in creative, but in survival, and there's just games I need a break from because I just can't anymore. I mean, there's like Call of Duty and stuff, which after a few hours I'm just like, not frustrated, but I'm like exhausted. Because I don't know, games that need you to be quick and react and listen to sound cues, they really they tire me out. They really do. Doom is another one. Doom is like an extreme one. There I cannot play more than an hour. I'm just exhausted afterwards. It's just intense. But then again, I play like Civilizations and Total Warhammer for like 5-6 hours straight, and I'm like, oh, it's already 3 in the morning. Whoopsie daisy. How did that happen? You know? We got it. Ladies and gentlemen. We done. The batteries have been installed. I'm just trying. There we go. And I'd say it's beautiful. It's beautiful. All right. How long do they need to charge now? If I look at here, 1 day. Yeah, obviously, if they all draw from the solar panels, they're gonna be so long until they charge. But yeah, that was to be expected. Let's see. How much do we have left over here now? Oh, 41. Okay, it's a bit more. It's about half an inventory. But still, I think if we didn't have this container, we wouldn't have enough. So it was correct. Was the correct decision. Yeah, I don't think we couldn't have done it in any other way in a more efficient manner. I don't think so. Or at least I hope. Right, let's get all of this back to the inventory, and then I'm just as to end this off, to finish this off rather. I'm just gonna break down all these containers again, because for the small mining runs I do not want these on there. They don't really make sense on there, so we're just gonna take this. Nice. If I spaced it correctly, I could have built those all with 1 inventory worth. That's good to know. Boom. Right. So that's it. So next time we're gonna just slap some lights on, as we said. We're gonna put a display in there probably, if we can, to get good notice on battery power, how much battery power we have left, and what the charge level is and stuff like that. And then we're gonna start with that part there, this part, and that's gonna be the last room, essentially. That's gonna be all gyroscopes. And I think we're gonna start like with some spaces in between the gyroscopes, so we have the option of putting more in and more in, you know what I mean? I don't want to overdo it from the start, but yeah, we'll figure this out. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.